Hello everyone, good afternoon. This is Tabassum Hussain again with some of the information for you for our last event from CAWm Canada Connecting All Women. So today I wanted to discuss and give you some brief introduction about the event which is on 24th of April in Milton. From 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. We were receiving a lot of requests to do an event or conduct an event in Milton, so which is my hometown, and I always love to be here and meet with the Milton people. So yes, considering all those questions which we were receiving, we are conducting our next event on April 24th. The topic is let's talk family. What does the law says about it? So our presenter Asya Khan, she's a lawyer and practicing law from some years. Before I talk about the event more, I would like to invite her in the discussion. Wait for Asya to join in, and then we will discuss. Hi Samar, how are you? Assalamu alaikum, Asya.
Walaikum assalam. How are you, Tabassum?
I'm good, Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much for joining in. I want to give your introduction and take a start with the discussion. But quickly, I just will invite a few friends so to make sure that because I didn't announce it earlier that we will be going live. So quickly, I will
Sure.
just invite a few people who
Mhm.
can then come and see us directly. And if they have any input, any questions regarding the event, they can directly ask us. So
Sure.
it will be more convenient. So I'm just inviting a couple of friends. How is your morning, by the way? Now it's afternoon.
It's afternoon, yes. Busy, busy. It always is, and it's something or the other going on in the office. Something that is not urgent becomes urgent, and emergencies are always
Yes.
happening.
We
Emergencies.
always face these kind of situations,
Yes,
right? They have
yes.
to be there.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. But unless you meet the challenges and you see the challenges and you meet them, how can you prove
Mhm.
yourself, right? And then that's being productive, I would say. So I
That's
love doing
actually true.
that. So, bus challenges.
Alhamdulillah.
Mm.
ठीक है जी. So we will just stop here. I have invited a few friends and people can
Hmm.
always see the recording as well.
Yeah.
Hi, Hazel, how are you? She's like some of the friends saying hi. Okay, so for Asia's about some brief introduction about Asia, that she's practicing law from more than 15 years, and specifically in Canadian law from 5 years. So I would say that it's a good time period to understand and practice and the inside of all the laws and the Canadian laws. She deals with family, business, and real estate law. So we were receiving some requests from some time about a lot of questions regarding that, related to family law questions, what are rights, what to do with different situations.
Mm.
And there are many difficult situations where people and women specifically do not have any guidance and they don't know what are the next steps and what they can do. So for all those areas, we have requested Asia to conduct this session. The session title is Let's Talk Family. Uh, and what does the law say about it? So, Asia, I would like to know a little. I have some questions to you before
Hmm.
going to the topic and the questions what we have received, and we are addressing most of the questions in the session, right?
Right.
I would like to know that during your practice in Canada, dealing with women, specifically, we will talk today only about the family, not the business or the real estate.
Correct.
So, what do you encounter more when women approach to you with different issues? What majorly you see their issues and problems are?
The problems are obviously lack of knowledge for in the first place. They have come, if I'm talking about South Asian community, they have come from countries where the law is different. And since although it's a common law jurisdiction, but the laws are a bit different, or the implementation is different. So when they come here, they bring that baggage with them, and they think that they don't have as many rights as actually the law provides them. Um, as far as family law is concerned, I don't only look at the rights of the women only, I look at the rights of the parties, right? So a family law client can be a man or a woman. anyone, right? And both
Yes.
of them have the same rights. So it's wrong to say that sometimes I come across this notion that women are, here and family law, they are favored more. I won't say that. Law is fair, right? And we as lawyers have to make sure that justice is done. Whatever rights are actually a party deserves are given to it, right? And for sure, the courts make that possible, right? And that court makes sure that it is done, right? So there are some notions, some misconceptions that they are dealing with when they meet us. For example, they would say that, you know what, again, the first thing is that I have many rights. So I have heard from that I have rights. I am going to, if I bring my husband to the courts, I am going to win the case. It doesn't happen like that, right? So you have to take things rationally. Another thing is that I need to make my clients understand is that litigation should be the last resort. Okay, there are many ways to resolve the issues through negotiation, through mediation. There are alternative routes that can be taken, right? But the first meeting that I have with the client is that they are just bent upon going to the courts. Again, as I said, they think that going to the court is the only option available, which is wrong. That should be the last option. So I have to make them understand, you know what, sit down, tell me what's happening, and then actually we can negotiate. If the other party has a lawyer, we can negotiate with the lawyer. If it doesn't, we can directly negotiate with the other party, right? And why don't you come to an agreement on certain things? For example, if there are kids involved, that their support, their custody access issues, right? So those can actually be put down in writing in the form of an agreement, which we call a separation agreement, right? So if you don't actually resolve these issues here on the table, that is in the separation agreement, and you go straight to the courts, do you think the court is not going to ask if these issues have been resolved or not? The court is always looking at the best interest of the children, always, right? So if there are kids involved and their rights have not been taken care of, their support has not been taken care of, who's supporting who, how are they accessing, if these things have not been taken care of, court is not going to grant divorce at all. That will be secondary. So this is something, the first thing that I do actually talk to my clients about is, why don't we just resolve it through negotiation? If not, then how about
So,
mediation?
Anasya, there are many complications. Like people don't know that what to expect because these are the things when they approach you,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
then you will explain, and their session, and then the meeting's going on, and they understand that what are the issues and how they can resolve. The point is that if they don't, they are when they are not uh, able to reach out to you, they are home, in the home they are stressed out, they don't know what their rights are in different situations when they are going through. So what are those key areas you feel that I'm right on? I know that you are conducting a session, and there's a lot of details which you want to discuss in person as well with the people and explain those areas, but just the key areas where you feel that they should know what their rights are, right? In abusive relationships, in property rights, kharcha nahi milta hai. There are many things, like because they are not taking care of the finances, or any mean, right? Or it could be vice versa, like from any other party, the families in laws are involved, a lot of pressures and everything. So what do you think that those key areas that a woman, I will speak specifically right now with the reference of
Women,
women,
yes.
they should know, a girl who is getting married, a girl, a very from the very beginning, like that how they can move forward with it, and what are the key areas they should know?
Key areas, as far as, so if I understand it correctly, you're saying that when they are getting married, then they should know, or that when they have
Yeah,
some
ahead of,
problem.
because that is the time, because they are getting into that relationship. If they are
Hmm.
well prepared and they already know their rights, they know at what stage what to expect, so they will move forward in with that mentality, and they will be prepared what to expect, instead of getting into trouble after 5 6 7 years. Because I see it's not only about the South Indian families who are coming in.
Oh,
I see
yes.
many people, the women who grown up actually by birth, they are here, like they have born and grown here, and they don't know their rights, because
Mm,
let's say that throughout their marriage life they have not received their child tax benefit, because it is
mm,
directly going to the husband's account. They have no access to it, right? They don't
mm,
know how to file it, they don't know how to file their access, and they are, it's not that they are coming from other countries, they are born and raised here, right?
mm,
So if
mm,
the woman who already have born and here, and that woman do not have access to their child support, their own money which they have to spend on the kids, and then there's a pressure that we are expanding, and all those things.
mm.
So these are the small things which I thought that they should know that on the daily life, in the routine, because we are not talking only about the extreme cases, because when they move towards the issues arises and everything, but a few small things which can be taken care in the very beginning, then I would say that maybe we can avoid those worst situations.
We
Do you
can
feel
do
like that?
yeah, yeah, this can be done, but unfortunately, women come to me, obviously being a lawyer, they come to me when some issue arises, right? Before that, even if the issue has not arisen, I am always there to help out, because I have seen uh, aunts coming in, I have seen uncles and older sisters or mothers who see that something may happen, right, in the future,
Mhm.
near future, and because they see their kids having some issues, they do come over for asking me what can be done in this, if this happens, what can be done. And I do actually advise them on that, right? Then at that time, I tell them what the rights are. Okay.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
before that, if you're asking that they should know at the time of getting married, me as a lawyer, I would not be in a position to, uh, tell them, since you're getting married, you should know about your rights, right? What can be done, as we can have separate discussions on that, or we can have separate sessions on that, where we can actually tell them about their rights. As such,
Mhm.
being a lawyer, it's that unfortunate thing is that they do come to me when some issue has
They're when
arisen.
they're already in the trouble. There is a question for you.
Yes.
Uh, Amjad Sheikh, he's
Uh-huh.
he's asking, Amjad, do you live in Canada? Your question is with perspective of Canadian law. It is, he's asking what about polygamy?
Okay.
Like
So
their second marriage is allowed, like second, third,
no,
by law, is it allowed here?
by law, it's not allowed here. Let me elaborate on that. Some people, what they are doing, and I do not condone that. That is not allowed, actually, should not be done. And it is very dangerous for the other partner. What people are doing here is that because since polygamy is not allowed, they have one marriage, right? And then they entered into a common law relationship with another person, right? When we
Okay.
say common law relationship, as far as Canadian law is concerned, they have nikah done, but they don't
Yeah.
register it. So what that means is that actually they have two wives, but under the Canadian law, they have one spouse and one common law partner. So why I'm saying it's very dangerous is because the other spouse, who is also according to the religious point of view, is your spouse, does not have any rights, property rights. So that
Oh,
is dangerous. That is very dangerous. Um, it's good that someone asked that question, because I'm good at answering questions instead of just telling you about the law, right? That opens
yes,
your mind up, right? So
definitely.
polygamy is not allowed here, not in Canada. And people who are doing that, that is having another common law partner, they are just depriving their spouse or common law partner of their rights, and the children as well, born out of that marriage, that common law
Okay.
relationship.
Sadia, is your question is from me or from Asya? Please clear it. Sadia is asking that if you are providing any services for the community. Uh,
Community in what sense? What does that mean?
Yeah, this is Sadi, could you please specifically just reword your question and tell me that this question is from COM Canada or this question is from ASEAN? Okay, so and if anyone have any questions, please ask your questions so we can answer accordingly. It will help us in taking the discussion forward.
So in the
Asya, could
meanwhile, I
you?
can just explain what that's, for example, if there is an issue, what happens. In the meanwhile, if this
Or
question
you
comes,
can
I will answer.
share because I wanted to we want audience to give some idea to what to expect in the session as well in the presentation on April 24th.
Oh,
So
yeah,
briefly, can you just highlight the topics which you will be
for sure,
describing
for
about?
sure. So what I will be touching upon is, or rather, will be discussing in detail and taking questions as well as regarding what are the grounds for the divorce? Like people say that I want to file for divorce. What are the grounds for divorce? Why would you go for divorce? What are the grounds on which the court or the law would allow for divorce? And there are three grounds, okay? I'm not going to go into that as yet. Then, if those three grounds are not met, then divorce, it's not possible that the court will say yes, the divorce can be granted, right? Then when you
Mm,
are again, the thing is, the question that comes up is that I have been separated for so many years, so or I am separating from my spouse. How do I file my separation? You never
mm,
file a separation. You can file for a divorce, but you can never file for a separation. Separated, you can remain for years and years, and you can reconcile even. But once the 1 year of separation has passed, the law allows you to file for the divorce. That's the law,
okay.
right? So 1 year of
Mm,
separation is good to filing for divorce. Another thing is that the concept of child support, right?
mhm,
And child access and custody. So
mhm,
whoever keeps the children for most of the time, or who has the custody of the children, the other
mhm,
spouse pays the child support, right? Pays the
okay.
child support, but access is the other spouse's right.
Mm,
Okay,
mm.
you
Asya, there is a
cannot.
question.
Yeah,
Can
go
I read
ahead.
it?
Sure, go
Okay.
ahead.
So again, Amjad Sheikh is asking, I don't know if this is a relevant question for you or not,
Uh-huh.
but I will just say the question. So people have two marriages in here, Canada. What you suggest to our ulma here in Canada? So law has to do with it. I don't know. I don't know. It's a question for the religious bodies
Yes,
and for you.
I know where it's coming from, actually. You know what? Um, Ulma, unfortunately, with due respect, there are some ulma who are actually not, I don't know if I should call them ulma, or some nikah registrars are actually registering nikahs, right? And just nikahs, and they are not registering the marriage itself. So that is wrong. Should not be doing that. Because if
It
you
is
do,
by law wrong or it is by religion wrong?
no, by law it's wrong. I'm not talking about
By law.
religion here at all. I'm only talking
It's
about the
yeah,
Canadian
okay.
law. So I
Okay.
will
So
not be
by law,
commenting.
it's wrong.
By law it's
Just to
wrong.
announce it more. Okay.
By law it's wrong. And that's why I said in the beginning that if you do that, whoever is doing that, and people are living like that, right? Religiously they think they are good because they have performed the nikah, but as far as this living in this country, they are depriving that other partner of their rights, because they are not
Mhm.
spouses, right, in the eye of the
Mhm.
Canadian family law.
Okay, okay. So it means that it is little dangerous if someone is doing or I would say that the second spouse, whoever the person is, she will not get any benefit in the property, like she will not have any rights like the first wife, right?
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay.
Yes, because that will second party or partner will just be a partner, not a spouse, because they are not married, right, in the eye of the Canadian law, right?
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. That's
Okay,
true.
so we were talking about, so what else I will be talking about is going to be child support, child access, custody, obviously, and again, the where if the spouse can actually qualify for a spousal support as well, what are the conditions or terms on which it can be actually granted. Then the concept of equalization, which is the property division. The concept of equalization is very important to understand, but people think, and this is again misconception, they think that, well, on the breakdown of marriage and on divorce, everything is going to be divided equally, half-half. It doesn't have to
It's
be.
not the case?
No, it's not the case.
Okay.
And I'm not explaining it right now. It's the suspense.
Yeah,
It's into.
I actually had a discussion in the morning with someone and they were like, it will get split into half. And but this is a new
There's
thing, like
much,
because I always
no, there's much more to it than just dividing into half. So I'm leaving it as
for the
suspense.
session.
Yes, right?
Okay. Okay.
Then,
It
yes,
varies case to case, I think.
I will explain it then.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right? Because it's
Okay.
more, there's more detail to it to understand than
Okay.
just that. Okay.
Just
Then,
read into that. Okay.
all right.
I understand.
What else? Yeah, as I said, it's better to resolve the issues outside court, less it's very cost effective and less time consuming, as well as it's, going to the court is it's very costly, obviously, and very draining, right?
Mhm.
People think when they come for the first time, as I said, they think that, oh, this is the only thing I'm going to do. I am going to drag my partner into court and
Partner.
do, oh yes, do this and that, and then they get the reality check from us. Then they
Mhm.
calm down. They said, okay, that, yeah, I think we will
They
listen to you.
realize that
I will
okay, this
listen
is
to you.
not that easy. It's not the case.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, you have any question?
Yes, I can. If the people who are watching, if they have any questions, we can definitely answer that. Otherwise, I think that's a very due topic, which we were like receiving a request from around 2, 3 months, and but
Hmm.
we didn't get a chance to proceed with that session. But yes, thank you very much. I think okay, so we are still live for some time. If you have
Sure.
any questions, those who are watching feel free to ask us so we can respond on that.
And
But
I would
we,
like to say something else also regarding the agreements, as I was touching upon the concept of separation agreement. So law
Mhm.
actually provides for some other kind of domestic contracts as well, right? When you say domestic contract, that means that some contracts that are made between the parties, right? And they actually cater for certain issues. For example, what will happen? I'm talking about the domestic contract. When I say that, it's not just separation agreement, but it can be a marriage contract as well. If the parties are not married and they are common law partners, they can have cohabitation agreements as well. So marriage agreement or a marriage contract can be entered into between spouses, right? And even before marriage, during the marriage, right? They have already married, they can actually enter into marriage contract as well. What that will cater for is the property division, okay, spousal support. What it cannot actually account for is the child access and custody and child support. Law does not allow for that to be catered in the marriage contract.
The
As far,
marriage contract, you're saying that people who are already married and
yes, they can.
during within their marriage, so
They
they are
can
that's
enter.
already
Yeah, what they
okay.
can do is, because what they sometimes they think that, you know what, when we got married, we I had this property, she had this property, right? And I don't want that this property should belong to my wife, or when there's a property division, it should be divided, right? And if
Mhm.
the other party or the spouse agrees to that, so what happens is that they enter into a marriage contract which says that, if we separate, right, this is, or there's a divorce, this will belong to me, which I brought into the marriage, and and the other party says this will belong to me, right? So it is already decided in the contract, right?
Okay.
So that can also be done.
In a very
And
normal living, it like because when we think of any contracts, it look like that you are in a clash or in a difficult
no,
situation where
no, no.
you're getting into
When
contract.
you say
But
contract, it's an agreement. And agreement, as the word itself suggests, both the parties have to agree on that, right?
Mhm.
It is a good thing to have it even when the parties are getting married. Recommended now, right? As you said, what would you suggest, as you were saying in the beginning, when the people are getting married, right? How should they protect their rights? This is one of the ways to have it done. Have
Wow.
your right before getting married, enter into a marriage contract. Sometimes people say, you know what, ye to badi manhoos baat hai. We are getting married and we should be like, this is mine and this is yours and this. Why should we be doing that? You know what? Again, the thing is, you are actually looking after your interest and the other party's interest. You want to protect each other's interest. You don't want to, I mean, it's not mandatory, but if you have that in mind that, this may happen, what if this happens, so why don't you enter into an agreement, right, for that? So that's what
Mm-hmm.
it. So another thing that I wanted to bring this to your attention and to the viewers as well is that two dates are very important, very critical whenever there is some family law issue. One is, and uh, we need to know those. First one is the date of marriage, and the other one is the date of separation, which we also call it the valuation date. Why these two dates are very important is that whatever for for the purposes of equalization of property, right? So what that means is whatever one but whenever one party brought into the marriage at the date of marriage, right, and what they have contributed, both of them have contributed towards those assets, right, the equalized till the date of valuation or the date of separation, that is actually taken as the for the division of property. But as I said, it does not mean that everything that has been brought in will be equalized. It doesn't happen like that. And that, again, I'll explain it at that time. So, yeah, that's mostly that's very important to know as far as this family law is concerned, and when someone is having an issue regarding family law. Yeah, and there are many other things that need to be taken into consideration, especially when we are making a separation agreement. It's a very in-depth and very detailed agreement because it is not meant for a year or two. It actually goes on for years to come. If the children, unfortunately, are small, when they are adults, they are getting married, they're not married, they are getting education, right? It goes a long way. So we have it take I take a lot of um, I mean, I make it in detailed. I try to cover each and everything so that the both, because again, it's an agreement, right? So the both the parties feel that fairness is there, right?
So, to me, honestly speaking, all the topics are very important, and this is something that we need to know them in depth,
Yes.
and which we will be discussing in the session as well in the workshop. But from what is like a very different thing which I have never heard about it, this merit contract, and I had
Mhm.
no idea that in normal situation as well, that
Oh,
when you
yes.
are happily married and you are just getting into the marriage, there is something which you can, because it is very true, like, and this is something which people should consider, because afterwards if something goes wrong, this is the major issues. Because I was listening to a case a few days back, that most of the, let's say, because they have owned a house or they have owned the property, and most of the money came from the girl's family, right?
Mm.
But what happens that when it comes to the division, it is because we have a concept of Jahez, right?
Mhm.
So so what happens that when it comes to the division, then it will get like equally split, though it has no investment involved from the other partner side.
Yes,
So
that
if
is
they
true
have
for,
already
yeah,
won,
that
so
is
for
true as
marriage.
far as the matrimonial home is concerned. Now we are going into details now. So as far as the
I'm dragging you
matrimonial,
in details.
yes, as far as the matrimonial home is concerned, yes, that has a different and very unique, it is uniquely handled by family law. So that is actually equally divided. But as far as it does not matter who put in the money, right? And who owned it at the time of marriage. Once it becomes a matrimonial home, then it's treated very differently. under family.
Okay, so but so one question here.
Uh-huh.
So let's say that they have the marriage contract made at that time, and you said that at that time they can say and determine over there that this is the property, from here the assets coming in, this is how we will be dividing. So at that point, at that time, if the person or the family who is putting most of the investment, if they declare that in any case if something goes wrong, this is coming back to the girl or this
You
family,
can do
and it is
that.
not being.
You
So
can
if
do
that
that in the
has been
agreement.
written and documented, then
Yeah.
do you think that we will not end up going towards the equal distribution?
That is what strongly it should be abided by, because it's an agreement in which they agreed, right? It's an
Mhm.
agreement. Again, the party, if since it's an agreement, it should be given reverence to, right? But if
Mhm.
one of the parties actually goes to the court and says, you know what, it's a matrimonial home, then that becomes another issue. But if they have agreed, it should be actually heeded to
Okay,
by the
okay.
court.
So it's a little complicated situation.
Little bit, yes, yes.
Okay, okay. Okay, thank you so much, Asia. We
You're
are
welcome.
looking forward to on April 24th for the session. And I'm hoping that the questions we have, the list of questions which we sent towards you, we will be
Mhm.
catering all of them.
Sure.
And the audience will benefit with your suggestions and guidance.
For
Thank you
sure.
very much for
Looking
joining
forward.
in today.
Mm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, so for the audience, I will be sharing the link. This session, the workshop is in Milton on April 24th. From 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. We are looking forward to meet all of you. Please join in because this is a very important information. It is not only not you only, the people around you, the families around you. If you need any guidance, what happened that if you are in a situation, or anyone who is in the situation, there you're stressed out and your mind goes blocked, right? Because and you it's very difficult to think straight and to find out the right ways. On the other hand, if you have some information, and if you see anyone suffering around you, you have the knowledge to help them, right? So I would say please come join us on April 24th. On This is a request session because we were receiving a lot of questions about it. Usually we do conduct a very educational side of, or the recruitment side of the professional workshops, but this is something which the amount of questions we were receiving, which made us to conduct this workshop, because it is a very important topic and people need a lot of help in this area. So I will be sharing the link for the event in the messages and in the post as well. So just click on the link and do register yourself for April 24th in Milton, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Team CAWm Canada, Connecting All Women, is looking forward to meet you on April 24th.